The drums beat loudly that morning, but Adana's heart refused to dance. Her eyes were wet with tears, not from joy, but from the kind of grief that burns deeper than fire. At only 18, she was forced into the arms of Chief Okoro, an old man with wealth vast as the savannah, yet no place in her heart. Her parents saw salvation in his riches. To them, the bride price was freedom. To Adana, it was a prison. As she walked, draped in gold and red, her childhood love Chike stood silently at the edge of the crowd, his eyes screaming the words his lips could not say. She thought her life was over. She thought her dreams had been buried forever. But what happened that night in the chief's palace would shock her, change her destiny, and reveal a truth no one expected. What secret was hidden behind the chief's smile? And why did her tears of sorrow turn into tears of joy by sunrise? Before we dive into this unforgettable story, do me a small favor. If you love powerful African folktales that carry mystery, heartbreak, and hope, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to join our growing family of story lovers, and don't forget to share this video with someone who enjoys tales that touch the heart. Your support helps keep these incredible stories alive. The drums of the village beat steadily, echoing like thunder rolling across the hills. But in Adana's heart, no rhythm existed, only silence, heavy and suffocating. She was just 18, her cheeks still carrying the freshness of youth, her eyes once bright with dreams. And yet, on this day, she was walking toward a fate she never chose. Her red and gold wrapper shimmered under the sun, but her face was stained with tears. She was not a bride of joy, she was a bride of sorrow. Every step she took toward Chief Okoro's compound felt like walking deeper into a grave. Chief Okoro was no stranger to the people. His belly was round like a pumpkin, his robes heavy with coral beads, his wealth stretching wider than the horizon. To the villagers, he was a savior. To Adana's parents, he was salvation itself. For the bride price he had paid could end their debts, silence the hungry wolves of creditors, and put food in their pots for years to come. But to Adana, he was not a man. He was a wall that stood between her and the boy she loved, Chike. Chike was nothing like the chief. His hands were rough, hardened from years of farm work. He had no gold, no titles, no sleek cars. All he had was a heart that beat faithfully for her. Under the great Irako tree, they had once dreamed aloud together, their laughter floating in the air like fireflies. He had promised her a home built with his own hands, and love that would last until the sun forgot to rise. But promises, Adana was learning, could not fill empty stomachs. Her mother's whisper that morning had cut her soul open. "You must be strong, my daughter. This is a sacrifice for us all. A noble one." But noble? Adana did not feel noble. She felt like a lamb being led to slaughter. The wedding day dawned with a heavy grey sky, as if the heavens themselves were mourning her fate. The village was alive with songs, drums, and the bright colors of festivity. But to Adana, every ululation sounded like mockery, every dance step like a cruel reminder that her joy was not her own. Chief Okoro arrived in a convoy of black cars that stirred clouds of dust. He stepped out draped in gold and scarlet, his chest glistening with coral beads, his smile wide, too wide. He looked like a man who already owned the world, now reaching for one last possession. Adana's eyes searched the crowd, and then she saw him. Chike. Standing at the edge, his face carved into stone. His jaw tight, his fists clenched. Their eyes locked, and in that brief moment, pain spoke louder than words. She gave the slightest shake of her head, pleading, begging him not to make a scene. Chike's chest heaved, but then, slowly, he turned and walked away into the shadows of the forest. With that, the last thread of hope inside her snapped. The ceremony itself felt like a blur. Rituals were performed, chants rose to the sky, and the blessings of the elders fell heavy on her shoulders. She knelt beside Chief Okoro, his hand soft and heavy on hers, so different from Chike's rough, calloused grip. One tear escaped her eye and slid down, landing silently on the coral beads of the man she now had to call husband. As the sun fell behind the hills, Adana left her family home behind. She sat in the car, watching the only world she had ever known fade into the distance. Her heart was heavy, her spirit broken. When she entered Chief Okoro's compound, her breath caught. It wasn't a home, it was a palace. The walls towered, the floors gleamed, and the bed in her new room was large enough to hold her entire family. Servants moved silently around her, treating her less like a bride and more like a guest at her own funeral. The air smelled of perfumes and incense, but none of it masked the fear that churned inside her. That night was supposed to be the end of her freedom, the sealing of her fate. Every sound, every flicker of candlelight made her heart pound harder. She sat stiffly on the bed, her hands clutched together, waiting. Then the door opened. Chief Okoro stepped in, no longer in his heavy robes, but in simple attire. His eyes, surprisingly soft, met hers. And in a voice gentle enough to startle her, he said, "Sit, Adana. You do not have to be afraid." She froze. Was this another trick? Or was there something more hidden behind the chief's wealth, something she had never been told? Her life had been stolen from her, but in that moment, she felt the stirrings of something unexpected, mystery. What would he reveal? What secret had brought her here? And could her tears of sorrow truly turn into something else? The answers lay in the night ahead. And that, my friends, is where chapter 1 of Adana's story ends, with fear, heartbreak, and a mystery that has only just begun. What do you think Chief Okoro is hiding? Why did his voice sound more like a father's than a husband's? We'll find out in the next chapter, the night of revelation. If this story has already touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who loves deep, emotional folktales. Your support helps us keep these powerful African stories alive for the world.